Alright, what's up, y'all? What's up? My name is Brayton Howard. I'm starting my new show today called The B-Hole on Primo Sounds radio station. This is my first time doing a radio show. I've been doing YouTube videos here out of Phnom Penh for about a year and a half now, so I'm pretty used to talking on camera, pretty used to public speaking, so something I'm pretty comfortable with, but now I'm taking it to a new level, y'all. So I'm going to do my first show today. So just a little intro about who I am. My name is Brayton Howard. I'm American, 28 years old. Grew up primarily in Virginia in the United States. I've lived all over the country. I've had so many different types of jobs. I've done everything from, busboy in a restaurant, dishwasher, lead cook, alpaca farmer, long haul truck driver. I used to set up freaking moon bounces at carnivals and, fairs and all that. I've been a door-to-door salesman. I used to live in Portland, Oregon and sell fucking steaks out of a rape van. It's like I was gonna hit you over the head with a fucking T-bone and bang your butthole. So anyways, man, so I've definitely seen a lot in my life, and I'm only 28, so I'm definitely pretty optimistic about what's to come. So people probably thinking, well, why the hell is your show called The B-Hole, man? That's kind of gross, dude. Well, I was trying to think of a show name, and I was gonna go with The K-Hole, because if you all have been following me on YouTube for a while, it's rolling, yeah. Oh, cool. It's rolling. Good. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this on film too, making sure it's rolling. I'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, anybody that's been following me for a while knows that I'm a big supporter of psychedelic drug use. Now, I'm not a supporter of drug abuse. I don't condone abusing anything, whether it's food, whether it's people, drugs, alcohol, whatever. But if I had to pick one psychedelic drug that I find to be the most appealing to me, it's ketamine. And I've done ketamine so many times, not on a regular basis, but just sparingly throughout, the time I've been here in Cambodia. And I definitely owe a lot of my artwork to that, a lot of the inspiration to some of my paintings that I do, some drawings that I do, some of the, some ways I think, I guess, I owe to some of the trips I had on ketamine. Ketamine is a synthetic psychedelic drug. It was synthesized in 1962. I forget by whom, but I know it was originally used as a local anesthetic for wounded soldiers on the field. And it's actually still used today as an anesthetic for surgery. Like, I believe here in Cambodia they use it as an anesthetic as well still. But it can also be used as a very, very potent psychedelic drug. It's like a dissociative. So something that can happen when you do too much ketamine. Well, I mean, some might say too much, and I guess too much is really just relative to what you're doing. So, but if you're trying to get fucked up, then it's not too much ketamine if you hit a K-hole. A K-hole is when you basically hit like a point of no return. It's when you do, when you break a certain threshold, when you do ketamine and you enter what's known as a K-hole. It's basically like, if I had to describe it simply so everyone can kind of understand, it's basically a complete separation from your mind and body. Like, you no longer can identify with yourself, like who you actually are as a person, especially with your physical body. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going on. It's like a hypnotic state where your body's essentially, fucking sludge, and your mind is just in a completely different realm, which I find to be very, very enjoyable. Obviously, you don't want to do it while you got like shit to do. But anyway, so I was going to call my show The K-Hole because the way I do my YouTube videos is the way I'm going to do this show, where like I just kind of shoot from the hip. Like, I don't really know what's going to happen. I just kind of go into it with an open mind, and some of the things I talk about just kind of come out of nowhere. You really never know what to expect. So I thought the fact that I have an affinity for psychedelic ketamine trips, and just with my style of speaking and showmanship, I thought that the K-hole was a cool name. But I did some research yesterday about the K-hole, and there's a thing called the K-hole podcast, and the fucking Kardashian sisters or whatever, the Kim Kardashian and all of them, they have a podcast apparently called the K-hole, so they fucking took it. So I figured, well, alright, my name is Brayton, I'm gonna call it the B-hole, and it's funny, go fuck yourself. Anyways, man, so I'm just here in Cambodia, and obviously when I meet other expats here or immigrants or whatever, they're always like they're always asking me like like what I do here, like how do I make money. So pretty much when people ask you what you do, it just means like what do you do to make money. So when I first moved here to Cambodia, I I had about $3,000 with me, maybe like $2,500, $3,000 cash, American cash, a little bit of Thai money that I got exchanged at the airport though. And what did I do? So for the first 10 days, I stayed here in Phnom Penh, and I was debating on whether or not I wanted to move back home to Virginia because I got homesick and shit. I thought I was fucking up my life by moving out here. And I ended up going to Siem Reap for like 10 days and visiting there. And all I did, man, was I went to Angkor Wat every single day. And I took my bicycle up there and I would just ride around this like seemingly endless temple complex known as Angkor Wat. And if any of y'all don't know much about Cambodia, like Cambodia used to be the empire of Southeast Asia. Like they were the Southeast Asians, you know. I mean, like even like the sport I competed in here is known as Kun Khmer, which is like Muay Thai. It's like kickboxing with knees and elbows and clinching. And I competed in that. But what a lot of people don't realize, but they fail to realize, and it's not because they're assholes, it's because they're just ignorant, is that Kun Khmer or sorry, Muay Thai rather came from Cambodia. So Thailand as a nation did not invent this martial art. They did not invent this sport. Cambodia did. But the Thai essentially, you know, took part of Cambodia with them and started their own shit called Thailand. So anyways, I digress. Yeah, man, so Cambodia is a pretty special place, and I feel like as the years have gone on, they've just gotten smaller as a country. And I feel like they used to be this big ass empire so long ago, and now they kind of got fucked over. I'm not gonna get into that. I'm not like any kind of political analyst or like history buff or anything. But based on what I know, Cambodia used to be, as I guess a lot of places are, like even in Africa, like a lot of places that are shit now that are like third world as fuck. I mean, let's be honest. Probably has something to do with fucking white people, and possibly like China and Vietnam. Anyways, if I say any more, they're gonna send assassins to my house to fucking cut my shit off with a sugarcane knife. So, anyways, yeah. So I've been here in Cambodia, and I was up there in Siem Reap, and man, I was riding my bicycle around every single day, and you gotta imagine, like I went from Virginia, which is like the part of Virginia I'm from is like very mountainous and very wooded and heavily forested. And during the time of year I left, it was winter. And the night that I was being driven to the airport to go to Asia for the very first time in my life was by my brother, and we were driving through the Appalachian Mountains in Virginia during a fucking ice storm. So it was literally raining ice. It was literally raining ice, and we were driving on ice covered roads through these steep ass mountain grades. Anyway, so then I go from that. I spent about a week in Bangkok, which is a total like, you know, totally crazy to go from that to to Bangkok. Everything good?
You got 2020 left.
For real? Holy shit, that's weird. My camera's got a shitty SSD card. Okay. Anyways, what the hell was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. So anyways, like I go from that climate to like going to Siem Reap, and man, I just got these long flat roads with these rice paddies. They're lined with rice paddies and like water buffaloes or what else, man? And you know, like one of my favorite things to do here in Cambodia is just simply go cycling. Like people that know me know that. Like people that know me in Phnom Penh know that about me, that I like to go cycling a lot. I like to just go up there and get lost. I like to get all buttered up with my strong ass weed butter and just get fucking baked and just go on, you know, 3-hour, 4-hour ride. Make some videos, of course. And the cool thing about cycling in Cambodia is that you can do it for a while because the roads here are so flat. Like Cambodia is a very, very flat country, so it's pretty nice for cycling, and it's beautiful. So I was doing that, and then I came back to Phnom Penh, and I ended up teaching English for a bit, which I fucking hated, man. Teaching English to kids sucks for me. A lot of people love it, and more power to them. More power to them. But I did not enjoy teaching English here at all. I didn't enjoy my experience with the kids or the administration. did not enjoy the hours, and during that time I was teaching, I was trying to basically be a professional kickboxer here in Cambodia, and I was training for that. I was training for my first fight, and I had 3 fights here in Phnom Penh, and the course of a month. I fought 3 times in 1 month, and the first time it was definitely a smaller. It was like more of an underground thing, to be honest. I mean, but I did get paid for it, and it was full contact. We were trying to knock each other out. Call it amateur, call it pro, or whatever. I call it pro because we were trying to fucking kill each other. There were no pads or anything, and we got paid for it. Not much, but you got paid for it if you won or lost. Anyways, I knocked out I TKO'd my opponent the first time, rather. And then 2 weeks later, I fought again, and I almost got knocked out the first round. The second round, I came back and knocked him out. And then a week later, I fought on on TV, which was a crazy experience, man. I fought on national television, and had I won that, well, I actually did very well in the fight. Let me just back up here. I got like a 1 week notice to fight on TV, and I had to make a certain weight, and the weight I had to make was 75 kgs, and I was about 81 kgs at the time, about 81, 82 kgs actually. So I was like, okay, yeah, fuck it, I can make the weight, and I figured I'll just dehydrate myself. I'll just eat very little and just cut the weight within a week. And what I ended up doing, like the day before the actual fight, like the day before the weigh-in, I had to weigh in. I had to weigh in the next day, and I was like 3 kilos overweight, which is like almost 10 pounds overweight. That's like 10 pounds overweight. So in one day, I cut 10 pounds of water. So what I did is I went to this place here in town called Phnom Penh Sports Club, and I just did laps in the pool. I did rounds in and out of the jacuzzi, and out of the sauna, the steam room, and I just alternated for like 2 hours, and I had like just a very small amount of water. I weighed myself, and I weighed 74 kgs. So I went back home that night. I had like a couple bites of frozen pineapple and some ice cubes. I woke up the next day. I went to my weigh-in. I was 73 kgs. So in one day, I went from 78 to 73 kgs. That's 5 kilos. That's like 10 pounds of water. So by the time I got to the fight, I still wasn't fully recovered from the dehydration. Like I still felt completely fucking fried. And I was walking out there to the ring, and like even backstage. Before the fight, like I was trying to throw like some kicks in the air, like just to loosen my legs up, and I couldn't really do it. Like like my legs felt heavy. I just felt heavy. Like when I tried to move or like shadow box or stretch, I just felt heavy and weak, and I felt like this weird like tingle in my legs and arms. It was just a really like scary feeling because I felt like I couldn't do what I was training to do. I felt helpless. I felt like I was fighting in mud or something, like I was moving in mud. So I'm pretty nervous, and then I walk out to the fight. I'm nervous as fuck. My heart's beating out of my chest not because I'm on TV. I mean, that probably definitely has something to do with it, but the fact that I knew that I didn't feel very strong. Like I had to go fight this guy on TV. Like all my friends were watching at the time. People who watch my YouTube channel were gonna watch. People who wanted me to lose were gonna watch. There's people here in town who don't like me, who want to see me lose. Anyways, we fought, and by the end of the first 3-minute round, I mean, I was completely fucking toasted. I was gassed, dude. And it was a 5-round fight, so it was 15 minutes of fighting total, and I definitely landed some great shots, and I landed, like, you guys can watch the fight. It's called Brayton Howard versus Vuk Sam Nong on TV. You guys can find it on my YouTube channel called No Joke Howard. Or just type in like Brayton Howard kickboxing or whatever, and you guys will find the fight. And it was on TV, and man, like you guys can tell like how tired I got by the end of the first round, and I threw so many punches at this guy throughout the fight, and like I know I hit him in the face, and like he just wouldn't go down. So it was a very scary feeling knowing that, and it ended up being a draw. But what happened in the last round is I broke my hand. I broke the third metacarpal shaft in my right hand. I threw a straight right. He ducked his head. I hit him in the forehead, and it just snapped. I knew that it broke, and I kept fighting throughout the end of the fight, but I knew that I was fucked. Anyways, after that I stopped fighting, of course, but I continued to train people. So ever since then, ever since October 11th of 2015, I have been doing personal training full time. like that's been my method of income, and I'm very happy. So that's what I do here in Cambodia for the most part. Like I'd say 85% of the money I make, maybe 90% of the money I make is all through training clients, like on a private level, group level. I do like private training mostly. That's what I prefer is private, like one-on-one training. I do like kickboxing training. I do fitness. Sometimes I kind of incorporate both, and I enjoy it. And it's really cool because I can do it on my terms. Like I can cuss around my clients. I can talk to like certain clients about like smoking pot or doing drugs or partying or things like that, and it's all good. I can talk to them about sex depending on the people, and it's just like I'm so fortunate to have a job where I can do what I want and I have discretion. I can operate it how I want to operate it, and I'm just really thankful for that, man. So Cambodia's been good to me, and everything that I've wanted to happen has happened, and then some. And that's what I tell people, like all the dreams that I had before I came here of things happening for me after I moved to Cambodia, like they've all happened essentially. I mean, I wanted to be a kickboxer. Now, granted, I didn't take it to the level that I thought I might. I thought I might take it to like a championship level. And had I not broken my hand in that fight, then I would have continued fighting on TV. They were going to let me fight every 2 weeks, especially because I'm a foreigner. Like they want to put foreigners on and all that, and they want more of a spectacle. So, which was cool, but I broke my hand, so I couldn't really fight. And the dude who sets up the fights for TV here, his name is Jake Gasol. Nice guy. He's also known as the Elbow King, because he knocked a shit ton of dudes out with his elbows. But anyways, he kept calling me like every few days for like 3 months after that fight, and I just had to keep telling him, dude, look, I broke my hand. I'm not able to get it fixed right. I can't really fight again. I don't think I should. And I don't know. So he wanted me back on, man. It was cool. So I was flattered by that because I guess I didn't necessarily show the best display of like physical conditioning in that fight, or some might even say skill. But I would say I showed a major display of fighting spirit and heart, and I didn't fucking quit. I didn't go down. I was the one pushing the pace. I was the one moving forward. I was the one who landed on top every time I went to the ground. Anyways, so I was training a client this morning. I train people out of my house, but I train people. I actually have one client in particular. His name is Stefan. Shout out to Stefan. He's somebody that I train every weekday in the mornings, and I just train him today. I train him at this place in town here called Superfit. Superfit's a pretty nice gym. It's on Mao Zedong Boulevard, and it's a nice gym. It's pretty expensive, like compared to an American gym, but I don't know. I guess it's about like $100 a month if you pay per month. It's like $100 a month, but of course if you buy like a year, it's like $400 or $500 as usual. If you buy in bulk, it's normally cheaper. So I was training him, and Stefan is a great guy, and I want to have him on my show as soon as I can because he's a very interesting dude to talk to. He's very funny, got a great sense of humor, interesting guy. I like his kind of, just like his way of speaking is very like, it's just enjoyable, it's pleasant. I like talking to him, and I like training him as well. And he's a Bulgarian gentleman, and I'd like to have him on the show soon, and he had a cold sore on his lip this morning, and it was the worst, and he's had a couple before. I've been training him for like 7-8 months now, maybe, and he's had a few throughout that course, throughout that course of time, and this morning was like easily the most disgusting fucking cold sore I've ever seen in my life. It was inside his lip, of course, his bottom lip, and every time he talked, like the air from his throat air would like push this, like, I don't know what you would call it, like this crusty, like honey-colored skin flap up and down, so you could just hear it flippy flappy in his fucking mouth every time he talked. It was like his burst cold sore on his inside of his lip, and his whole lip was swollen. It looked like he had a bunch of chewing tobacco in his lip. He looked like Bubba from fucking Forrest Gump. I mean, it was kind of funny. Like, I almost felt bad for the guy every time he talked, but I also had to gag. So, we were talking about it, and you know, what a lot of people don't know about herpes. Now, like, if you have a cold sore in your mouth, that's a form of herpes. There's herpes type 1 and type 2, and herpes type 1, like most people on the planet, are born with it. But, like, and I'll explain here in a second. And then herpes 2 is like genital warts. It's like genital herpes, which I would like to think most people don't have that, but I'm sure a lot of people do. And with herpes type 1, if you get a, you can call it a cold sore, a fever blister, whatever, herpes sore, whatever the fuck you want to call it. If like there's a lot of people that have herpes 1, but it's a dormant form. And I actually have herpes type 1. I was tested several years ago. I got a blood test, I got an STD test, and they said to me, they said to me like, if we call you, then something's wrong. But if we don't call you within the next, 3 days to, it was like 3 to 5 days, then nothing's wrong. But if we do, then something went wrong with your test. So at the time, I'm working on this alpaca farm in Gainesville, Virginia. And for those of y'all who don't know what alpacas are, they're like llamas but smaller, and they're bred for their fiber primarily. They have the finest fiber on the planet. You can make like scarves, socks, sweaters. It's very expensive shit, very very high quality stuff. Anyways, I was working on the farm as a farmhand, and I had free time, a lot of time during that, because I was on a farm, and I would go in every day at like, what was it, 6, 7 a.m. at the butt crack of dawn. It was cold as fuck because it was winter time, so every single day I had to go out. I would feed all the alpacas. I would go out on the Kubota, it's like an RV, not like an RV, it's like a fucking ATV with a truck bed in it essentially, and I would go around feeding them, and then we'd spend the next like 3 hours. It was a 4-man crew shoveling shit. It was about, okay, so an alpaca shits, I want to say it was 10 to 14% of their body weight a day they shit, and we had 600. We had 600 on the farm. So we were scooping literally thousands of pounds of shit a day. Thousands of pounds of alpaca shit a day, and we would take it to literally, we had a shit field where it was just heaps and piles of just shit. And even in the mornings, like even on the cold winter mornings, from the previous day's dumps that we left there was still steam rising from this. It would be like literally like a 15-foot tall mound of just alpaca shit, and it would be steaming like all week just from the core of it. So like the core of the shit heap was still hot enough to create steam. It was pretty interesting. Anyways, I had taken a blood test for STDs because why did I do that actually? I think I did it just to do it. I think I just decided that I was going to do that. Like I was just going to get an STD test or whatever. And so even before I got a call from the doctors, I was still scared. I was like researching ways that I could live with STDs, and I wasn't sure which. And then while I was doing that, like 3 days after I got my blood test, I get a call from the doctor. And as soon as I say like, yes, who's this? And she's like, yes, this is so and so from Medics USA. It's a place called Medics USA. It's like a little clinic in Winchester, Virginia. And so she says, yes. So we have the results from your blood test, and my heart is like, I'm like, dude, I have AIDS. Dude, I'm fucking dead. I have fucking HIV. I'm dead. I'm gonna have to tell everybody, oh shit, I'm dead. And I said, okay, well, like, what's up? Like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, we need you to come in. And I was like, all right, well, but like, can you just tell me what's wrong? And she's like, for confidentiality reasons, I can't tell you over the phone. It has to be, you have to come visit. So I'm like, the first thing I do is I'm just gonna let it go, man. Whatever. Yeah, I have like 5 minutes left on my camera, so sorry for anybody who is watching this right now. It's about to cut off in a few minutes, but I'm going to keep talking past that. I'm going to try to figure out how I can get this to go longer so I can upload it to my channel. But this is like a sample for the YouTube viewers, and for the people on the radio, I apologize for talking to my YouTube viewers, but I have another audience as well. I digress. So the first thing I do after the lady calls me, after we talk about me coming in for the doctor's visit for my STD test, I immediately just start looking up of like people with AIDS, like how do you live with AIDS? Are there ways to treat it? Like how long can you live with it? And I just started accepting that I had AIDS. Like I'm just like, okay, fuck, this is it. I have AIDS. I knew I had unprotected sex with plenty of people before that, and I'm trying to think what I had sex with. Was it? Did I bang a dude? Did I bang a dude? Yeah. I had unprotected sex with one guy and plenty of women, like maybe 5 or 6 women at the time, and I just thought, fuck, I had AIDS. So anyways, I go in there, and I'm just like, got like my fucking shoulders down, my fucking stomach's in my throat, and I go in there and they're like, yeah, so you have herpes. And I'm like, what? Like my first thought is like, what? I don't have herpes, dude. I don't have warts. What are you talking about? And she's just educated me. She's like, well, it's actually very common. She said like 90% of Americans are actually born with this, and it's a dormant form. And she said, I probably got it from my mother, because my mother might have it as well, but she's never had a fever blister either. So if she does have it, it's a dormant form, which means it's really nothing to be concerned about. And even if it is a cold sore, it's not gonna like kill you or anything. It's just kind of ugly and it's painful for a few days and then they go away. But you just don't want to kiss anybody, of course. I've never had one, like not even during the winter time. Just get chapped lips. And yeah, man. So basically, I have herpes type 1, but it's dormant. So it's really not even a big deal. It's really nothing. And I remember I was engaged before I moved to Cambodia. I didn't really tell anybody that. I was engaged for about 2 years. I met her when I was, 23, 24, and we were together till July of 2014, and we met in like 2012. So just under 2 years we were together. Anyways, about 2 months after dating her, my very first date with her was on my 24th birthday. 24th birthday. Yeah, 24th birthday. I met her. We went to Chipotle. Anyways, doesn't fucking matter. We dated for like 2 months, and then I knew that I had this herpes type 1, but I knew that it was dormant, and I knew that it was not an issue. But I also knew that I should tell her. But where I was conflicted is like, we've already been going out for 2 months, and if I tell her now, she's probably gonna be pissed. But if I don't tell her now and then it comes out even longer, then it's gonna be even worse. She might try to like sue me or some shit, even though it's not a threat because it's dormant form of, she's not gonna get anything. She was just very ignorant and uneducated on the subject, so I called her up on a cold, snowy day, and I just said, look, I have herpes, and then I went on to explain to her that it was a type 1 herpes and that it was, nothing to worry about, and she's just freaking out, basically saying, oh my God, this whole time you've had herpes, blah, 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 we gotta break up, blah, 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 blah. And so she, broke up with me. She pretty, broke up with me right there, and so, my whole Christmas was fucked. And, man, the next few nights I was, drinking and shit, I was crying, and I remember, how did we get back together? It was like a couple weeks later, we were texting or whatever, and I just told her that I really wanted to see her, and I really wanted to explain some things to her, and we ended up working it out and getting back together for a while. And, we had our ups and downs, and man, being with her was my first real, it wasn't like my first, it was my first and really only long-term relationship ever. Because you gotta figure, man, we met, I got to know her family, they got to know me, we moved in together, I proposed to her, it was a legitimate relationship, man. We had our ups and downs, and, but I had a lot of weird experiences, man. When I used to have sex with her, for the first year that we were together, I would get this shit called folliculitis. And I never had it with anybody until I started getting with her.